democracy at work with another Wolff Responds. We prepare these for our Patreon community and are happy to share them beyond that as well. I want to talk briefly today about the stark difference between the history of the rise and fall in Europe of coronavirus infections and the rise and not fall of the infections here in the United States. The difference is so stark that both the New York Times and CNN have recently shown graphs, written reports on the stark difference. Europe can reasonably claim to have suffered badly, but to have driven down the rate of infection to very, very low. The United States cannot claim the same because it hasn't. And besides that being a stark explanation why it is correct to say we could have and should have done better, I am more interested here in exploring briefly with you what might explain the difference of the European experience and the far worse U.S. experience. So let me offer three factors that strike me as particularly important to explain the difference. First, most of Europe, and by the way, not all parts of Europe did much better than the United States. The UK, for example, didn't, and that's not the only country. But by and large, the vast majority of Europeans, West and East, have done much better. Okay, first reality. Almost all of the countries of Europe, and certainly of Western Europe, have a well-oiled, well-functioning national health care, health insurance system. The United States does not. And that's an important factor in covering a disease pandemic. For example, in Europe, you are insured medically for whatever you need, whether you're employed or not. It's not linked to your job. Now, the Europeans did not impose mass unemployment on their population the way the United States did. And that's the second reason, I suspect, for the different performance. When you add 42 million people having lost their job, and it may well be more than that, in the United States, many of whom thereby lost their medical and health insurance, you are adding anxiety, worry, economic deprivation to people already trying to cope with a viral pandemic. That's not going to make the situation better. And the Europeans did not do that. Number three, the European leaders, by and large, told their people that this was a serious threat and disease and that they better hunker down and they better be careful and wear the masks and wear the gloves, all of it. In the United States, the leadership, the president, the people around him, basically were, to be kind, ambivalent, speaking out of one side of their mouth than the other, saying the disease wasn't a problem. It was. Saying you should be careful, saying you don't need to wear a mask. I mean, it is a very mixed message at best, and that too plays a role. In Europe, you were not told that it was some kind of statement of your personal liberty to ignore masks and so on. It is understood in Europe, and this is a cultural issue, that you're not free to do whatever you want if it hurts other people. And if you have the disease, with or without symptoms, you can hurt other people by not wearing a mask. This is not rocket science, This is a straightforward understanding of what it means to be part of a community and not to imagine yourself Robinson Crusoe on some island all by yourself. Then the third, maybe even the fourth factor I would like to bring up. Third and fourth. Third, Europe is a much less unequal society than the United States. The distance between rich and poor is less inside most enterprises and in the society as a whole. Having a vast number of people in economic difficulty, where the United States stands out, is not conducive to a successful beating of a viral pandemic. And now the last variable, if you like. We have authoritarian leadership in the United States. And I was struck by another statistic, this one from the Johns Hopkins University group that is tracking the coronavirus. They listed the 4 countries with the largest number of people infected already. And here they are. Number 1, the United States. Number 2, Brazil. Number 3, Russia. And number 4, India. What do those 4 countries have in common besides having terrible problems with the coronavirus? Each of those 4 has an extremely authoritarian government. Trump, Bolsonaro, Putin, Modi, the 4 leaders known for their arrogance, for their quasi-dictator wannabe attitudes toward government. Could be a coincidence, might well not be. We are paying the price in illness and in death. Large numbers of ill people and dead people for not having the leadership, the levels of equality in our society, the national health insurance system. We are paying heavy prices for what we don't have and what the Europeans do have. It is something to think about because it's a very serious, fundamental critique of American capitalism. This is Richard Wolff for Democracy at Work.